Dave Kindig's name became synonymous with automotive excellence through his meticulous restorations and bespoke custom work at Kindig-It Design. For years, he captivated enthusiasts worldwide with his distinctive philosophy that every vehicle tells a story worth preserving. Fans followed religiously as his reputation soared, his shop expanded, and his television presence grew. Yet success, it seems, carries its own weight. Lawsuits emerged. His show vanished from screens. The narrative shifted from triumph to controversy. This is the story of what happened to Dave Kindig, a man caught between the demands of an empire and the expectations of those he promised to serve. Inside the shop, work continued as it always had. Dave stood beside the door panel of another restoration, examining the curves and angles with the precision that had made him legendary. The panel design had evolved considerably from the original specification. He and his lead designer, Justin, had shaped it together, both reaching the same conclusion simultaneously. This was right. This was the answer they'd been searching for. When observers stepped outside and peered through the window, the interior commanded attention. The car possessed presence. Justin had engineered a one-piece leather headliner, a technical challenge given how aggressively the roll cage had been positioned into the upper corners. It required patience, skill, and an unwillingness to compromise. This was Kindig-It in its purest form, obsessive, meticulous, uncompromising. Yet even as the work progressed, tensions festered elsewhere. Dave preferred anonymity despite his fame. Unlike many personalities drawn to controversy, he kept his head down, deflecting attention toward the business itself. So when legal trouble surfaced, it seemed incongruous with his carefully maintained image. The story began in 2019 when a consortium of over 30 chiropractors and wellness professionals from across America entrusted Dave with an ambitious project, a complete restoration of a 1974 Dodge Charger. The agreement stipulated a $670,000 contract. Both parties shook hands, expecting a straightforward transaction. The professionals would gain a vehicle worthy of their vision, and Kindig-It would deliver its signature excellence. Early 2020 brought the initial deposit $230,000, with additional payments scheduled as milestones were reached. The chiropractors imagined a timeline measured in months, not years. But months turned to seasons, and seasons stretched into an eternity of silence. Inquiries went unanswered. Updates never materialized. By 2021, frustration had calcified into something darker, the conviction that they'd been deceived. The Charger sat largely untouched. Its shell remained intact, yes, but the drivetrain was absent. The interior existed only in imagination. Functional components were nowhere to be found. Kindig-It had taken their money and seemingly forgotten about their car. In mid-2021, the chiropractors attempted reconciliation through private mediation. Both sides sat across conference tables, negotiated, listened, and departed without resolution. The company offered no refunds. The timeline remained vague. Hope dissolved. By late 2021, the only path forward seemed to be litigation. The lawsuit, filed in 2022, accused Kindig-It Design of fraud and breach of contract, claims that the company had accepted payment for work it had no intention of completing, that communication had been deliberately evasive, that the timeline had been deliberately obscured. The company's response centered on external circumstances. The 2019 pandemic, they argued, had disrupted global supply chains. Shipping delays had cascaded through their schedule. Production timelines had become impossible to predict. The company pointed to its decades of successful projects as evidence of good faith. Delays were unfortunate. They maintained, but they were not abandonment. The case followed an established legal progression. Kindig-It accepted the commission in 2019. The deposit arrived in early 2020. By 2021, dissatisfaction had metastasized. The mediation failed. The lawsuit was filed. Discovery began. The chiropractor's legal team presented photographs and invoices demonstrating minimal progress since the initial teardown. The evidence was damning. The Charger had been broken down, but never rebuilt. Kindig-It's defense that external challenges had caused the delays felt increasingly hollow in the face of documented negligence. As the case gained media traction, other voices emerged from the shadows. Former clients stepped forward with similar grievances. One customer had waited 3 years for a Camaro restoration only to watch it stall at the bodywork stage. Another recounted slow progress and poor communication. These weren't isolated incidents. They suggested a pattern. The shop, it appeared, had accepted more projects than it could realistically manage. Success on television had created an illusion of unlimited capacity. The business had overextended itself. As of 2025, the case remains in discovery, with trial anticipated in early 2026 unless settlement negotiations yield resolution. This wasn't Dave's first encounter with the legal system. In 2014, he had initiated litigation rather than defend against it. The case targeted Creative Controls Incorporated, a Michigan-based company allegedly profiting from Kindig-It's intellectual property. Custom car design thrives on originality. Builders dedicate years to developing proprietary systems, hydraulic configurations, suspension geometries, fabrication techniques. Patents protect inventions. Copyrights protect creative expressions. Without these protections, competitors could steal designs wholesale and replicate them without consequence. Dave understood this fundamental truth. His case against Creative Controls sought to defend innovations he developed and refined over decades. Creative Controls moved to dismiss, arguing that Utah courts lacked jurisdiction over a Michigan company with no substantial presence in the state. They claimed insufficient business dealings, no Utah employees, and no regular operations within state boundaries. The legal arguments were conventional and potentially persuasive. However, Kindig-It countered methodically. The defendant's website facilitated orders, including from Utah residents. Years prior, Creative Controls had sent a custom parking brake to Kindig-It in Utah, a donation publicly acknowledged. Additionally, the company had utilized photographs from Kindig-It's Utah-based website without authorization, a detail that strengthened jurisdictional arguments. The Utah District Court examined these contents carefully. In January 2016, the court ruled that while certain non-patent claims might proceed, patent claims lacked sufficient jurisdictional foundation. The website's facilitation of sales proved insufficient. The parking brake donation, occurring years prior, was deemed too temporally distant. The single sale to a Utah customer was ruled inadequate. The court's narrow interpretation meant that significant portions of the case would proceed in Michigan, undermining Kindig-It's strategic positioning. The litigation continued beyond the jurisdiction ruling. In April 2017, the court denied a Kindig-It motion to compel further discovery, noting that the request had been filed after the discovery period closed. The information sought, even if timely requested, would have lacked proportionality to the case's actual needs. Momentum shifted. In June 2017, the parties were referred to mediation. Unlike the chiropractor case, this negotiation yielded a settlement. Both sides filed a stipulation of dismissal with prejudice in July 2017, a legal formality indicating that both parties had relinquished claims and surrendered the right to pursue the same matter again. The specifics remain confidential, but the case was concluded. While Dave navigated courtroom battles, his television presence had become a cultural phenomenon. The show, which premiered in 2014 on Motor Trend Network, had transformed automotive enthusiasts into devoted viewers. Each episode documented the transformation of classic vehicles, 1950s Chevrolets, high-performance muscle cars, vintage legends through the lens of obsessive craftsmanship. But the show transcended simple documentary work. It offered viewers unfettered access to one of the world's most respected custom shops. They witnessed not just the finished vehicles, but the decision-making process, the problem-solving, the moments when impossible designs became tangible reality. Dave's reputation grew with each season. He became known for innovations that seemed to appear organically from his hands and mind. His team worked with precision that bordered on religious. Nothing left the shop unless it met standards that customers expected and exceeded them. The show captured this philosophy authentically because Dave had insisted upon it from the beginning. He'd made clear to producers that he would never compromise project quality for television ratings. The cars being built were for his customers, not for cameras. This integrity became the show's greatest asset. The television success coincided with significant operational expansion. Kindig-It Design relocated from a 4,500 square foot facility to a 27,000 square foot operation. The original space, while modest, had been sufficient for a focused team operating on a limited scale. But as reputation expanded and demand increased, larger quarters became essential. The expanded facility allowed Dave to assemble a team of specialists, fabricators, engineers, designers, upholsterers whose combined expertise elevated the shop's capabilities exponentially. Complex projects that would have been impossible in the smaller space became routine. Dave's journey to this point had begun much earlier in childhood. He'd spent hours drawing insects, designs, intricate patterns born from imagination. Early sketches reflected a fascination with form and function, but gradually his attention narrowed. Cars became his subject. Automotive design offered a canvas where creativity could meet engineering, where artistic vision could be manufactured into reality. This childhood passion had never extinguished. His first professional position came at High Performance Coating, where he learned the restoration business from the foundation up. The job provided essential knowledge on how to assess damage, how to source components, how to manage timelines and budgets. He accumulated experience methodically, building a mental library of techniques and solutions. After several years, he felt ready to venture independently. In 1991, using his personal retirement savings, he established Kindig-It Design. The business emerged not from investor capital or bank loans, but from pure determination and personal financial risk. The early years were spare. The 4,500 square foot space was economical and tight. Yet within those constraints, Dave's perfectionism flourished. Every vehicle that left the shop represented his reputation. He couldn't afford shortcuts. Quality became both philosophy and necessity. Word traveled through automotive communities. Enthusiasts began seeking his services. Clients from distant regions contacted the shop with commissions. The reputation grew organically, built project by project, client by client. The expansion to larger facilities in the late 1990s represented a pivotal decision. Dave had reached a ceiling where he could do excellent work only within constraints of his current space and team size. A larger facility meant higher rent, additional staff, more complex operations. It also meant opportunity. He embraced the transition. The expanded space accommodated the specialized team he'd need to execute more ambitious commissions. Complex builds that seemed beyond reach suddenly became feasible. Around the same period, Dave initiated what he called a media blitz, an intentional effort to increase visibility among industry professionals and media contacts. The gambit paid unexpected dividends. Producers at Velocity TV, later rebranded as Motor Trend Network, expressed interest. They requested sample video footage demonstrating the shop's working process and capabilities. Dave recognized this opportunity immediately. He created a demonstration video that showcased both technical skill and the shop's unique culture. Producers responded with enthusiasm. The show was greenlit. Throughout negotiation of the television contract, Dave insisted on provisions protecting the show's authenticity. He would not allow production schedules to dictate project timelines. He would not rush incomplete work for dramatic effect. The show would document his actual process, not a manufactured version optimized for entertainment value. These parameters initially concerned producers accustomed to television dramatics, but Dave held firm. He understood that manufactured drama would eventually alienate viewers who recognized inauthenticity. Better to present genuine craftsmanship, genuine problem-solving, genuine innovation. The gamble proved prescient. The show's authenticity became its greatest asset. For over a decade, the series remained one of Motor Trend Network's flagship programs. Viewership remained steady. Enthusiasm never diminished. Dave became recognized beyond automotive circles for his image synonymous with excellence, with unwavering standards, with creativity unleashed through discipline. The show had transformed him into a cultural figure while simultaneously showcasing the work he loved. Yet in early 2025, the network canceled the series. The announcement shocked viewers who'd grown accustomed to the show's existence. Dave confirmed the news through an Instagram post expressing gratitude for supporter loyalty while assuring fans that his passion for custom builds and innovation remained undiminished. The cancellation raised numerous questions about the show's viability, the network's strategy, and Dave's future in television. Industry observers cited several factors contributing to the decision. Competition in automotive television had intensified dramatically. Networks had greenlit numerous car restoration programs, saturating the market. Viewership, while respectable, no longer justified production costs. The budget required to maintain quality standards had escalated significantly. Intricate builds required substantial production resources. Capture and behind-the-scenes work authentically demanded multiple camera crews and extended shooting schedules. As costs rose, networks struggled to justify continuing series that, while popular, couldn't guarantee blockbuster ratings. Despite the cancellation's emotional impact, Dave's influence within automotive communities remained robust. His commitment to innovation continued driving projects and designs. The shop remained operational, pursuing commissions from clients who valued his work above all else. The television cancellation, while disappointing, didn't diminish the core mission, creating vehicles of exceptional quality and originality. His participation in industry events like the Master Tech Expo demonstrated his continued relevance. He shared expertise, mentored emerging talents, and stayed connected to trends reshaping automotive design and restoration. These engagements reminded the industry that Dave's contributions transcended television. He was a craftsman, an innovator, a figure whose impact would persist regardless of broadcast schedules. Beyond the shop and industry events, Dave maintained a private life carefully balanced against his public prominence. His wife, Charity, grounded him. Together, they shared a love of golf, a pursuit that offered respite from the relentless demands of the business. The game provided space for connection, for conversation, for temporary disconnection from automotive obsessions. The couple used these moments intentionally, understanding that success required equilibrium between ambition and presence. Dave also committed himself to philanthropic endeavors. He understood that his platform carried responsibility, whether through industry participation or direct community involvement. He supported causes aligned with his values. Car shows and exhibitions provided opportunities to engage broader audiences, to inspire younger enthusiasts, to demonstrate that craftsmanship and excellence could generate meaningful impact beyond individual projects. His story from childhood sketches to industry leadership illustrated a particular kind of American success, not overnight fortune or inherited advantage, but deliberate development of skill, unwavering commitment to quality, and strategic risk-taking. Yet the lawsuits and cancellation revealed complications that tempered the triumphalist narrative. Growth at scale created pressures and challenges that smaller operations never faced. Success generated expectations that sometimes exceeded capacity. Television amplified both achievements and failures. As of 2025, Dave Kindig remains defined less by controversies and cancellations and by the work continuing within his shop. Vehicles in various stages of completion represent his ongoing mission. The team he'd assembled over decades continues pursuing projects that demand excellence. His influence in custom automotive design persists, independent of television ratings or legal outcomes. The arc of his career, childhood passion transformed into professional mastery, scaled to an organization of significant complexity and reputation, remains a noteworthy journey. What